All right, are we ready?
Yes.
Maya? Okay.
I'm here.
In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Look at you. You made it to another episode of We Did That Shit podcast, where we talk about who did some shit, how we got through some shit, and what we learned from shit.
I'm Maya.
And I'm Bibbi. Podcast family, we appreciate you, and we hope your week was the shit. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. If you enjoy our company, please subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. We're on iTunes, Google Play, Anchor, YouTube, and Spotify. You can also follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at We Did That Shit. Hey, Maya.
Hey, what's going on?
Chilling. You see me, I'm chilling hard, too.
Mm-hmm. It was one of them days, so I'm chilling myself. And I still got so much to do. I've been doing a bunch of stuff all day. I was busy at work.
What?
First of all, I don't know why people think that I'm never busy. I'm not busy. No, because I'm not busy like most people are busy at work. But I have shit to do, first of all. And second of all, I'm never going to be that busy at a job ever again.
Oh, okay.
Because I feel like work that's there is going to be there tomorrow. Now, I am, if I have a deadline or something, I'll meet it. But if I have stuff on my desk, it's going to be there today.
Tomorrow.
It's going to be there tomorrow. It's going to be there the next day. Probably the next week, because that's how companies go, It's just stuff to keep doing. I'm not doing all that extraness. I'm just not for a business that's not my own. That's just where I'm at with it. My day has been nonstop. But anyway, how you doing? How was your week?
How was my week? My week was, I think my week was good.
You think your week was good or your week was good?
Come on. Same shit, different me.
Okay.
That's all I could. Friday, I remember Friday was a bad day.
At work or just in your life?
Of course. Where else?
Oh.
I don't have bad days in my life. It's just when I be ready to leave the building and just toss a Molotov cocktail over my shoulder. But I hope this thing ain't standing in the morning.
Mm-hmm. If you feel like you don't have, this is what I don't understand. I just really don't understand this logic. If you don't have bad days in your life, why would you have bad days at work? And I'm not saying that the people at work can't make you have bad days or just being busy or just trying to complete a task can't have you in a bad way. But you shouldn't be having bad days at work from 9 to 6. And then when you leave, you're just like the happiest person. You need to channel that energy into getting your life and being happy about something at work.
You're absolutely right.
No job I said this before and I'm going to say it again. No job that could be here today and going tomorrow should have your energy to the point where you so miserable and then you so happy when you leave. That doesn't make sense. I'm sorry.
Right. You are 100% correct. And I spent most of the weekend in deep contemplation and prayer. And this new and improved Bibbi is getting on my nerves because the old Bibbi would have been like, fuck this shit. I don't have to take this shit in 2 months because I was ready to go in 2 months.
Right.
But I've been there over 2 years now, still with the same bullspit. But it's a new, mature Bibbi.
I commend you for that as far as sticking and staying. I'll commend you for that.
There's obviously something I have to learn. Because you know me, that's right. I'll be out. I'll worry about paying the bills later. After unemployment then ran out and then I'm trying to shake a tail feather out here or something, I don't care. But no, I was, this is the new mature Bibbi I really think that there's something there that I have to learn. There's something. It has to be. But I did spend the weekend in contemplation about it because I don't I don't like other people. I don't care what kind of situation it is. I don't want other people to dictate how I'm going to feel.
Right.
I don't like that either. So, I'm working on it. Whatever has to be worked out is going to be worked out, and then it's going to be over. How was your week?
My week was my week was all right. I had an annoying ass day, and I think that I'm just trying to get myself in
You
in a
had an
better.
annoying day today?
Yeah, and I feel like the annoying day today.
Overshadows your great week?
Yeah.
Because you had an adventurous weekend. It was just,
Did I?
I was by my phone every second.
The weekend was adventurous. And you know what I realized? No, wait. I had an annoying day because, like I'm happy I'm getting older, because when you get older, that means that you're still living, right?
Mm.
But then another part of me is like, shit really changes when you get older. And the stuff that I once could like brush off my shoulder or not worry about, as I get older, I feel like I'm more worried about it. Things is changing, like even just everything, like it's more gray hair, your body don't move the same,
Mm-hmm.
you every because you know how I am. Every little thing, I'm like, oh Lord, I got a new mole, I got a new bump. Not that I got a bump, but you know what I'm saying. It's just like a new. I just every day I look in
Yes.
the mirror and I be like, do my eye look a little lazy? Like my hair ain't swooping the right way. You know what I'm saying? I can't. My fingernail look like I don't know. It just feels like it's just
Oh
a
my
lot. And
God.
today, that coupled with the fact that I was busy, it just was like it's too much. So I just felt like I had an annoying day. And all day, I just felt like I was trying to pull myself out of annoyance.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's
I
like
know
I spent
exactly what
more
you're saying.
time. I spent more
Trying not
time
to be
trying.
annoyed. Right.
Exactly.
Yes, honey. I
And
know exactly what you mean.
so, and I don't even know why, because it ain't even like so much is going on that I'm like, I mean, there's stuff going on, don't get me wrong, but
Mm-hmm.
anyway, but yeah, I did have an adventurous weekend. So I'm trying not to let this day overshadow the fact that I had a good adventurous weekend.
Right.
Yeah. This weekend was very, this weekend was very interesting to me, because you know how you have that epiphany about yourself. Like you could just be sitting and you have an epiphany about yourself, like
Mm.
I'm the shit, or you have an epiphany about yourself. You be like, damn, I'm a liar.
Right.
Like, and I had an epiphany about myself, even though I know I always kind of knew that I could come up with stuff, not lying, but that I could come up with stories right off the top of my head. But when I had to do it this weekend, it
They
was like
flowing.
it just flowed like it wasn't nothing. I didn't think about it. It was just like, you know what? This what I'm gonna say. And that's what I said.
And I said what I said, and that's what I said.
But I hung out with a friend that I hadn't seen in quite some time,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a really nice time. It was good to catch up. I realized, oh, I missed you, and so it was good to catch up with them and
Right.
seen them. Didn't see some other people I was supposed to see, and but life goes on. And I will say this: always, always, always go with your first mind.
Mm-hmm.
If your first mind say that ain't the one for you, if
Right.
your first mind says buy the dress, buy
Mm-hmm.
the dress. And I was kind of second guessing my first mind, and then I
Mm-hmm.
was like, the epiphany. It was like, girl, what you second guessing it for? You belong to no one. You know what I'm saying? You're
Mm-hmm.
single. It's nothing. It's like, because y'all know I'm single. I'm dating. But until one of these dates or one of these people that I'm seeing make it official, what it is.
It is what absolutely. Now I want to get back to this going with your first mind,
Well,
because when I meet a person and I be like, nah, they ain't it. Y'all be like, oh my gosh, you don't
well,
even give the
mm,
person a chance with it. Like my first mind be telling me no. I
Yeah,
be
your
knowing.
first mind says no to everybody. Your first mind
But
says no to men, and I don't want to say no
that's
to
not
men like you
period.
to women, but your first mind goes to yes, it is. It
No.
doesn't. Yes, it is. It does not matter if you can meet. Give me your celebrity crush.
I like Shannon Sharp.
Okay. Shannon Sharp could walk through the door and you love Shannon Sharp right now. You look at
Hmm.
him, be like, I like him. Oh, his skin, his voice, just his build,
Hmm.
just everything about him is just like, look at you, Shannon. And then when Shannon Sharp walks through the door, you be like, Shannon Sharp, I thought he was cuter than that. I don't know. The way that his eyebrow sits up is like, and did you see the way he was sucking his teeth when he talked?
But
And
that's my first mind.
yeah,
And
but
go, you said go with your first mind. And what about Baby G?
what about Baby G?
My first mind wasn't like, no, no.
Yeah,
That
but
wasn't my first mind.
shouldn't have been your first mind with Baby G. What about him? I mean, like you act
But
like
you
this.
you said with nobody. It's not true. Like I know when it's nothing.
If if you dated 70 people, I'm just throwing a number out there.
Mm.
69 of them was a I can't even believe the way he
Well,
talked.
it's
I
not
can't
about
he's
the
so
69.
thick.
It's about the one. The one
Oh,
where my
okay.
first mind was like, oh hey, how you doing?
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying. I'm not
Oh,
saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I'm saying that I got 1 out of 70. You know
okay.
what I mean? That's all I'm saying.
Well, we gonna focus on that one.
You gonna
But
focus
yeah,
on that one.
we definitely gonna focus on that one. But yeah, my weekend was very adventurous, and the week was pretty good leading up to the weekend. So it
Hmm.
was a good time. It was a good time.
Good times. So who did some shit this week?
There's so much stuff going on, but the one thing that I wanted to talk about this week. So Robert Smith,
Hmm.
who is a billionaire investor, he was invited to do the commencement speech at Morehouse College for their 2019 graduating class. And while he was there doing his commencement speech, he announced that he would pay off the student loan debt for each graduating member of the 2019 class.
Now, did he graduate from Morehouse as well?
Yes, he did. He said in his speech that on behalf of the 8 generations of my family who have been in this country, we're going to put a little fuel in your bus. He
Hmm.
said, now, I know my class will make sure they pay this forward. I want my class to look at these alums, these beautiful Morehouse brothers, and let's make sure every class has the same opportunity going forward because we are enough to take care of our own community. We are
Amen.
enough to ensure we have all the opportunities of the American dream.
Amen.
They say, it was 396 students that were in the 2019 graduating class. And when they
Hmm.
did their calculations, they said that the debt added up to something around like $40 million.
Wow.
And so, I mean, just the thought of that is like mind boggling to me because I know what it is for somebody to pay off your student loans. You know what I'm saying? It
Hmm.
is the greatest burden that somebody can take off of you
Right.
because student loans you pay sometimes for the rest of your life. You
Hmm.
never think that you're going to be done.
Right.
And what a leg up that this gives these young black men that they can now go into the world without having any debt from school and they can just start their life fresh. I
Right.
think that's just so beautiful.
There's nothing more true than when he said we can take care of our own community. And I don't care if you got 10 million or $10.
Right.
We can take care of ourselves.
Hmm.
And that is the thing that moved me most. That was just a phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal thing. I was just like, oh my gosh, I was happy for every parent.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I was happy for every student. And I was just happy for people in general who are looking for some kind of burden relief.
Hmm.
Because if it can happen to that person or that group of people, it can happen for you too. So if you're still believing for something, it can happen. That was just a great experience all around.
And the fact that it was at a historically black university, I
That's
mean
right.
college, and that a black man was
That's
able
right.
to do it, it is like amazing because so according to Forbes in 2000, well, this is from 2018, it was like 2046 billionaires in the
Mhm.
world,
Okay.
12 of them, 2000, I think 12 to 14 of them are black.
Okay.
And so out of 2,000 people, 14 of them or 12 of them being black, for this black man to do this for these black men is
Right.
just phenomenal. And of course, nothing good in the age of social media can happen without you getting some negative bullshit. I like really seeing people on social media angry at the fact that Robert Smith was paying off these 396 students' debt. One
Angry.
one girl that I saw, she tweeted out and she said, "Why does one person have enough wealth that they can do something like this, where you have such a disparity in incomes with people?" I was like, what the hell?
I'm
Now,
not.
listen to what I just said.
Mm-mm.
Out of 2,046 people in 2018, only 12 of them are black. So you wouldn't have no problem, because that mentality feels to me like you wouldn't have a problem if Warren Buffett paid off somebody's debt. But you have a black man who is able,
Mhm.
who has the funds to do something like this. He's a billionaire. It's what the children that are graduating from this college would strive to be. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like, not only is he just, it's not even about him just being a billionaire. It's like you said, he paid it forward. He took care of his own community. It's
Mhm.
a class that a school that he graduated from, that he felt the need to invest back into so that these boys can go on to be men, to go on to do what he's doing.
Mhm.
And you have a problem with that? Then I seen other people saying, "Oh, well, the fact that they just did it for men, what?
And
We can't
those
ever go
people,
ahead."
but those people are not the people who will be receptive to gifts, because they just, naysayers, just
Yeah,
like, no
just
matter
don't
what
know how to
good
be
is going
anything.
on. Yeah, I mean, I've heard some things too, but I don't pay attention to that mess. But the one funny thing I saw, because the internet has no chill, and I'm sorry, it was funny to me. The what's her name? Rachel, the one who was the white girl who was the president of the NAACP.
Rachel Dolezal.
Yes. So they had a picture of her looking like she graduated, talk about I too at Morehouse Press. I
But
was like,
Flip
it
Flammer,
just,
anything she could say, like,
yes.
a graduate of Morehouse
I mean,
College.
but like as soon as it came out his mouth, it was on the. I saw somebody posted it on Facebook, and I just thought that was so funny. Like, here they go.
People have no chill. They even was
Right.
tweeting Oprah. Oprah tweeted out something like general, like, I'm growing vegetables today. And somebody put under her post, like, "Oh, why didn't you pay off student loan debt and this, that, and the third?" And then Oprah responded to the person.
Right.
Now Oprah
She
was
sent
like,
plenty
uh,
people to college.
Oprah said, "Well, I guess you're not counting the X, Y, and Z amount of people that I sent to college, or the $14 million that I paid in tuition, or whatever." Like, Oprah had time. She was like, "Don't come for me.
Right.
He did that, but I too,
Right.
she did it as well as all. I too, am doing my part, And everything doesn't have to be publicized. You know what I'm saying? Robert
Yeah.
Smith, like, in reality, even if he wasn't tapped to do the commencement speech, that was on his heart to do.
To do it.
So even
Right.
if he wasn't tapped to do the speech, he would have probably done what he did anyway. Not to mention the fact that that's his alma mater. He's probably done so much for the
Right.
college in general that wasn't publicized. If just not too long ago, people ain't even know who Robert Smith
Smith
was. And
was.
it's so
Right.
funny that he did this, because I was talking to my friend slash coworker
Hmm.
Kevin, and I was just saying to him a week and a half ago something about Robert Smith, and he was like, "Well, who is he?" And I was like, "He's a one of the black billionaires that we have." I said, "He's a philanthropist, he's an investor. He got his start with tech." And so I was like, "Look him up." I was like, a lot of people don't realize who he is. Just like even like people don't know that Bob Johnson, the owner, the person who started BET, he's a
Right.
black billionaire. His wife, Sheila
Right.
Johnson. People don't know these things. And I mean, like, it's not like
She
we're
owns the
going out.
hotels, right? Right.
And it's not like we're going out and like seeking the information. But again, he was under the radar until now. Now everybody's like, "Oh, Robert Smith." And it's like, the man has probably been doing all kinds of stuff, under the radar. But bravo to him. And
Yes.
like you said, you can spend 10 million or $10, but
We
let's
can
keep it in
take care of our own. That's right.
and do something.
Yes.
So that was really the only thing that I had for this week. That was so powerful. I didn't want to burden
Right.
it
It
down.
overpowers everything
Yeah,
else.
for
I
other
agree.
things. So congratulations to those young men as well. And I hope that they go forward to do great things.
Well,
So,
the valedictorian is he had a 4.0 grade point average and was accepted into I forgot the number of law schools, but he did choose Harvard. So the valedictorian is going to Harvard Law
oh,
for
okay.
that class. I was just
I don't know. What's crazy is because I know a lot of people who went to HBCUs and then they went
to
to
Ivy
other,
League.
Ivy League colleges to do their graduate degrees and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't know how
Super
about.
black. Right.
Yeah, it's like I went to a predominantly white college, so it was like then I went to Temple, and that was whatever for graduate school. So it's just like I'm continuing on, but I don't know if I would have went to Spelman if I would have went to Harvard Law as opposed to another HBCU law school. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I had that experience if I would have wanted to now have that whitewashed experience that you're going to get
Right.
at Harvard. You know what I'm saying?
Don't fall asleep in the lobby reading your books.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, but congratulations to him. Congratulations to him. So, let's just get into the topic for this week.
Okay.
I was having a conversation with a friend,
Mm-hmm.
and she was just telling me some things, about her relationship, and she was talking about how her man is insecure. It baffles me because I'm like, well, I've been knowing you and knowing this relationship for so long. You ain't never cheated on him, or you've never given him a reason to be insecure. And so why is he? And she just started explaining a lot of different things about insecurities that I just never thought of, just ever, because maybe it's because I feel like I've never dealt with an insecure man. But then too,
Lucky you.
I know the signs of someone being insecure.
There are signs, but they're not all the same for all people. Now, men are insecure for a few. First of all, you have to get to the reason that they're insecure.
Right.
Like some men are insecure because of them. Because of them. When women are insecure, we buy a good bra or buy some Spanx, wear makeup, get a weave, stuff like that. Well, that's what we do when we're insecure. When men are insecure, it comes out a different way when it's about themselves, and they tend to project it onto other people. And then some men are insecure because, and people don't talk about this much, but men don't heal from past hurts. They keep it, and then that makes them insecure for the next relationship. They're always waiting for you to do what the last person did. And even if you were 10 million miles away from doing that, in their mind, here it comes tomorrow.
Right.
I know tomorrow's going to be the day, and that causes them to be insecure. So it's a duality, and it manifests itself in different ways, because I was in a relationship with a man who was insecure, and I had no clue until we weren't together anymore.
Oh, well, let's get into that. But first, before we get into that, because I'm very interested in knowing what he displayed that when you got out of the relationship that you thought was insecure. Because insecurities to me feel like abuse.
Abuse.
Oh, if you insecure, you want to know where I'm going, what I'm doing, who I'm doing it with. Because you're insecure, that feels like eventually you're going to slap me. Like I feel like it's a slap coming on. And even if you're not an abusive person, to me in my mind, I look at you as abusive. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm an adult, you're an adult.
Right.
I'm a human being, you're a human being.
Right.
But anyway, in talking to her, I did a little bit of research.
Okay.
And I came up, well, I didn't come up with it, but I read an article that had 7 signs that your insecurities are affecting your relationship.
Okay.
And then if you're a man that you was in a relationship with that was insecure, if he don't got none of these, then I need you to tell me what the signs was. Because now I'm thinking like, am I dating somebody that might be insecure? So number 1, you have trouble fully trusting your partner.
In my experience, he clearly did, but I didn't know. I couldn't tell. And I don't trust anybody. But again, that's something that I don't project onto the other person. So unless that mistrust is projected onto the other person, you don't know.
Well, was he projecting that onto you? Like, was he projecting that he didn't trust you? Because when you are saying to a person, like, I know what you, okay.
Yes,
so,
he was. Yes,
okay.
but yes, like looking back, and this is after, we weren't together anymore. In the beginning, he did little things. Like, and I just thought they were strange.
Well, give me an example.
Like one time we were going somewhere, and this guy, somebody was having a yard sale or something on Westfield Avenue too. Westfield Avenue or Federal Street, one of them. And it was Westfield Avenue because it was in Pennsauken. The guy, I guess it was his house who was having the yard sale. The guy had on this like spaghetti strap. Exactly, like, and you know how something catch your eye and you be looking like, what the hell does he have on? You know what I mean?
It wasn't like a G unit. It wasn't like a G unit.
No, spaghetti strap. No,
okay. It was like a camisole.
I know a spaghetti strap when I say spaghetti. Like, and he may have even cut spaghetti straps. He might cut them or something.
Like he cut the white beater.
And I was just looking like
camisole.
And he was driving, and when he saw me looking, he was like, "What you looking at?" I was like, "Look at that guy. He had a fit."
About you saying, "Look at the guy,"
because I was looking at the guy, but he had on a spaghetti strap muscle shirt. Like, who does that? And I don't argue. I don't know what you're saying. I don't even remember if he was saying anything or whatever, but trying to get me, I don't argue. And I'm not going to sit here and argue with you over no foolishness. He literally turned around and we went back home. I forgot where we were going, but he literally turned around and went back home. So that was it for me. Like, I thought it was super stupid, super dumb. And I went home, he went home, and we didn't speak for about maybe 3-4 days. And then he came over, was like, now, mind you,
all because you said, look at that guy.
Yeah, because
he went off. And nothing about that made you feel like, I don't know about him.
No, I mean,
because I would have said, "Oh my God, he gonna slap me next week." If you said to me, I said to you, "Look at that guy," and you was like, "What you looking at him for?" Now you want to look at guys. No, what did he say it like? Because automatically I would have said, "Oh, he gonna slap me tomorrow."
No, it was never any anger. I don't like anger. I don't do the anger thing and the yelling, the raising your voice. I don't argue. I don't do that. He was like, "You with me and you looking at another man?" And I was like, just looking at him like, what the heck is wrong with this guy? And like, he was really upset about it. Not angry, like mad that I was scared, but just like upset, and literally turned back around and we went home. So I went to because we were literally neighbors.
He threw a temper tantrum.
Yeah, but yeah. And so we came back, went home, and I didn't speak. I wasn't going to call him because clearly something's wrong with you. And I'm not going to sit there and entertain whatever this nonsense was. So, all right, I'm good because all right. And then like maybe 3 days later, he came over or called me or something, and then I'm sorry, this, that, whatever. I'm like, all right, like, and and then it never happened again, so I didn't, miss that one.
Yeah,
Miss
that
that.
was definitely a miss because I
That
would have been
was
like,
that was.
child, I had to leave Reggie. This ninja went crazy. He about to smack
It
me.
did go crazy though. He didn't go crazy, and that's what I think.
But
That's
see,
really what it was.
that's
It was
worse
he was
to
so
me.
subtle.
Yes, that's
It was
worse
so.
to me when you're calm. You might as well just start going crazy and smack me because now you calm, and I really think it's a lot. All right, number two, you internalize your negative thoughts and turn them into actions. Well, you didn't gave us that example because that's what he did.
I don't. Yeah, right. Because he definitely was one that was insecure because of his experiences.
Okay.
He was all in and then later found out that the chick wasn't, or he experienced like the chicks cheated on him, so he internalized all of that. Like, I try to do, because he really believed in taking care of.
Hmm.
He prided himself on that. And so it was like, why would you need to go somewhere else for anything, if I take care of you? But they did, for whatever reason. But they was like bum bitches.
Probably because no, they probably went other places because of his insecurities.
Well, I'm not.
It
That's what I'm saying. I
manifested
am not.
itself into it comes out. And even though it doesn't come out in a, like you said, he wasn't angry or anything like that. It was very subtle. It
No, that wasn't. No, it wasn't. He didn't start out being insecure.
okay, right. But he
He
didn't
didn't.
start out with one person. But then when that one person did him wrong, then the second person, then he was insecure. Then the second person did him wrong.
Right.
And then what? You the fifth person. So now you gotta deal with
Right.
all
So right.
four of their
That's me.
baggage.
That's me. But like in the first relationship, I think what it is that he has some things in his head, and when it doesn't work out, it was like, so he had, like, so it happened one time, he has a little bit of caution,
Okay.
and then it happens again, but every time it happened, it just increased. Like, he was all right at first, but then ever since he really tried to be like a boyfriend, and it didn't work out, it just, he started with the insecurity, and it just increased with every experience.
I hope he ain't beating somebody up now. And if
He's
it's just
still not beating
increasing,
anybody. He's still not beating anybody up. He's
he
not.
probably making their life miserable
Well,
with the insecurities. I mean, okay, number three, you compare yourself to your partner's exes. Now, did he do that with you? Did he
well,
compare
we didn't talk
you to
about
his?
exes. We
Okay.
didn't talk about exes and stuff like that. But no, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what was going on in his little brain, but it wasn't a verbal conversation.
Right. Next, you rely on your partners to make you feel like you're enough.
Yes,
Now, with
but
my,
that's most men though. They just, you got to be their biggest cheerleader. God
yeah,
dang.
yeah. I mean, they do need a lot of like
Yeah.
reassurance.
Yay! All
Yeah.
right. That's another thing. To me, I'm a giving person. You know what I mean? So I give you, when we first started dating, he took me out and I gave him a card. I put a card in his mailbox. Like, I had a
Yeah.
nice time, thank you, whatever. You
Right.
know what I mean? So I always I'm a big card giver, little trinket gifts or something useful or something like that. Um
Go
I
ahead.
was always doing that kind of stuff, so it fit. So,
Yeah.
if he had that need was fulfilled, and I never had to experience anything because of that.
To me, it all boils down to the confidence thing, right? And I'm attracted to confidence. So I feel like you got to know that you're enough. Like, if I got to tell you you're attractive enough, you fun enough, you smart enough, it's like,
Mhm.
what do you think of yourself? And that's a turn off.
Right.
You know, regardless of whether you're doing it subtly or whether you're doing it like straight up in my face, you have to know that you're providing enough, that you are like I shouldn't have to tell you you fun every 5 minutes. Come on, my man.
Well, I mean, for people who are insecure because of themselves,
Yeah.
I can see where they need this. But for people who are insecure because of their past experiences, they really need this because they feel no matter what they do, they feel like it's not enough.
Don't put your past relationship experiences on your new relationship. I mean, I feel like wonder if you're enough if you really got some shit going on.
Right.
Now, if you was dealing with somebody and they treated you like stir fry shit and you chose to stay, don't put that on
was
me.
on you.
I haven't treated you like that yet.
Exactly.
Give everybody their
how about they
own
was a bum bitch? How about that?
Right.
How about there's nothing wrong with you? They was a bum bitch.
Right. And
the only thing you did wrong was you picked a bum bitch.
yeah, and give everybody their own opportunity to show you who they are, or be by yourself.
Exactly, I agree.
That's a definitely an option. You could be by yourself. Don't bring nobody else into your bullshit. All right. So the next one is there's a feeling of distance in your relationship.
Never was distance.
Well, no, because he was wondering what you was doing every 5 minutes. So of course it was.
But not in a nagging kind of way. It just wasn't like, what you doing? How you doing? Where you going? What you doing? Where you going? How you doing? What you doing?
How was it? Because that's how I think.
Right, but it wasn't like that. People think that that's the only way to be. It was like, because of our schedules, like the way he worked and the way I worked, I went to work like Monday through Friday, and his schedule wasn't like that. Right. So if he got off of work in the morning or whatever, and he'll be like, "Hey, babe, what you doing? All right, let's go get some breakfast, and I'll take you to work." You know what I mean? I was like, all right, because I don't like driving. I like attention, and I don't really like. So I don't have to worry about driving to work, driving home from work. He'd be like, "What time you get off? I'll come to get you." Yeah. And they'd be like, "Babe, he's here," and I'm like, "All right, y'all gotta go."
Right.
And to me, that was all right. But to him, it was knowing where I was, and then I'm stuck at work. So if something come up, it's not like. But I mean, if something happened, say if I was going out with my coworkers, I could go. I'd just get a ride with somebody and be like, "Hey, pick me up from here." But that, looking back, that probably would have been a problem. It never happened. You know what I mean? But that probably would have been a problem.
It would have been a problem if somebody would have
because he's insecure. So if say we decided, because you work there too, so say we decided to go out and get drinks. Now, if I was riding with you, that wouldn't be a problem. But
if it was going to be a problem, you better never let me find out that it was going to be a problem.
No, and this was the thing about that job, because at the job he knew that all the men there were gay, and it was women and gay men.
Or so he thought.
So right, and so he was cool with that. Now, when I started doing other things outside of the job, he was like, "Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that?" Being supportive, and it wasn't like he was being, because he was coming out at first. He was coming to all my speaking engagements. He was coming to conferences and stuff like that, which didn't bother me, again, because I really don't go I don't go anywhere you can't go.
Yeah.
All right, you want to go? Okay. I really didn't pay it any mind like that. And it wasn't like I didn't feel like I couldn't breathe. And I'm a Sagittarian.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we don't like to be boxed in, but I did not feel boxed in at all. However, the decisions I was making were having an effect on him. And I just didn't see it. But when they started appearing, I was like, what? I didn't stick around.
Because everything that you're describing, I just feel like I did not know you was getting abused. All this time I thought he was the greatest thing, but then lo and behold, I don't know.
I was not abused. I was not.
You wasn't. But what I'm saying is,
that's what it sounds to you.
Mighty, if I'm doing something, I'm at work, and it's, women and gay men, but then if I got a speaking engagement and you're not there and it's just men, and then you got a problem with it. No.
Right. I mean, it was like little weird things, but again, I didn't realize until it was over. And then he would tell me some stories about like some experiences that he had. And I just feel like, damn, he just did you dirty. Like, it was some fucked up shit. I ain't gonna lie. And I was like, poor thing. Like, no wonder he thinks, you know what I mean? But hey, whatever it is, this is the one. Is that all the things?
No. Okay. We got two more.
Go ahead.
The second to last one is your partner is constantly having to reassure you. So you know how you said you like attention, and so the article says like it's nothing wrong with craving,
Mhm.
attention. It's nothing wrong with craving some reassurance from your
Mhm.
partner. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That's nothing wrong with that. Everybody does that. You want your partner
Mhm.
to think highly of you. Everybody does that. Every now and again. But the constant reassurance, abusey.
I didn't. I was gonna say that too. What's our word? Abusey.
Abusey.
it was. It was nothing abusey about the relationship. Nothing.
Right.
And I think, like I said, I think just because of the person that I was, I would always do little things. And that was back in the day when I was cooking every day, and it was like, and cooking is a very intimate thing. I don't cook for people anymore.
Right.
Cooking is a
Yeah.
very intimate thing, and he loved my cooking. And when if I cooked, he really felt like, even though I had children to feed, that, oh, I was, and that's what connected us, cooking.
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
was that's how he approached me. It was because of my food. I was making a sauce, and you could smell it all up and down the street. And
Mhm.
he asked, he was like, "You think I could get some sauce?"
You think you got enough? A little bit more of that?
I cussed him out too, because he asked for the sauce. Now he was, because he lived there with with his family. And
Mhm.
I thought they had all moved because I
Mhm.
didn't see any of them. I saw a U-Haul truck. I said, "Oh, they're moving." I didn't pay it any mind. And
Mhm.
then maybe like a couple weeks later, I saw him, and I was like, "Oh, I thought they moved." But
Mhm.
what happened was she left.
Okay.
Her and the kids, they left, and I was like, oh. So when he came and asked me for the sauce, I was like, oh man, I probably down there starving, like eating out of a can. Or
Mm.
I mean, even though he can cook a little bit, but you know how men,
Yeah.
they got a woman, whatever. And I was like, yeah, sure. You can have some. I was like, when it's done, I'll put it in a bowl, whatever. He was like, okay. So when he came down to get it, and I had put the sauce. I was like, you know how to make noodles? And he was like, yeah. So I put the sauce in a little bowl, and he tried to hand me $10.
I
And
would have took it.
I know you would.
I would have took it because like you was just the U-Haul just moved and now
But
you've been
but
my
it
next door
wasn't
talking
it
about.
wasn't just moved. It was
I know it wasn't like yesterday because I know you wouldn't have talked to him, but like you was just over there with your family. Now you want sauce? Yeah, give me the $10.
No, I didn't. This is why I didn't take it, because, and this is how I think. Just like you think it's abusive, whatever. Because I knew his intent. So
Mm-hmm.
now it's crazy to me how I knew that then. That was my first inkling. And you always say, then you say that, go with your gut.
It's mine.
My
So.
first inkling was, this bitch trying to play me.
Mm.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I got money, I pay my way, I did like that slick shit. I was like, I cussed him out real nice. Real nice, real good. And he was just looking at me like, I was like, now take your goddamn sauce.
And go
And
boil
go.
your
Yes,
noodles.
because I was like, what the fuck you think this is? Like, I'm not gonna feed my kids to feed you.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna take out, no, my kid, we're fine. Bye. Then it was like, get out of here with your
And
little
I would have said all of that and took that
and took
ten
the ten
dollars out of
dollars.
his pocket and been like, bye,
No,
goodbye,
it was
with
it
the
was
ten
the
bucks.
it was the intent
Uh
of how
huh.
he gave it that I was like, yeah, no. So I really didn't dig that at all, and I forgot how we start. I don't know if he did apologize or something. Was like, well, I just thought blah blah blah. So, and I'm telling you, that was the wrong move because he ain't offering me money for a while.
Yeah,
Shit.
because you ain't take the money.
It
That's
was.
why
I
it's,
mean,
it's like
even
take the
even
money.
we were like literally legit together, and I wouldn't even accept gifts from him.
Oh. Mhm. Well, while he needed to get help for his insecurities, you clearly needed to get help for some stuff too.
I just don't like. I don't. If I feel like if people are going to do something for you, just do it. You know what I mean? But whatever it was, it let me know that his intent wasn't right. It just didn't feel right.
Well,
And
let's
so,
just say that it didn't feel right because if somebody is trying to pay their way, or give you something for something that you did, now if you had a feeling, because go with your gut, that woman's intuition, that your intent wasn't right and I ain't taking your $10, that's one thing. But don't say it like paying your way Or yeah, coming down there and giving me $10 so I could go buy some more sauce, not because I'm not going to feed my kids, but just so the next time it's time to get sauce, I got your $10 in my pocket and I ain't got to worry about getting the sauce out of my dime. That's how I think. Thank you for the money and see you later. You know, but I just think that constantly having to reassure your people, or the person that you with, it takes away from you, like, because you're giving everything to them. You like the whole you're enough. Now I got to reassure you. Now I got to tell you you're enough. I'm putting everything into you and I'm giving myself nothing. I'm drained because I'm trying to make sure that you're secure, even though nothing that I say nor do is going to make you secure if you're insecure.
Exactly. Exactly. That's exactly. What's the
Mhm.
last one?
The last one is you read too much into what your partner says.
I don't know about that. I'm not familiar with. I don't know how. It's not like you take it literal, or, and I think a lot
No,
of
you don't do that because you're not insecure.
him.
But
That's
he
what I'm saying.
obviously
Him.
did. No, he did that when you said, I'm going to a speech. And he was like, well, who's going to be there? Well, why you doing that?
Well,
Oh, now you
no,
ain't.
he didn't
No,
do that.
but you just said that he said when you wanted to, you just said that when you wanted to do something different,
No,
whatever the different was.
I said when
Uh-huh.
I started, when I worked at ACS and J, he
Mhm.
was fine with it
Yeah,
because of who was working there.
right.
But
But when you
when
wanted
I
to
started
start
to do
doing something,
AIM, no, when I started to do AIM, at first he was coming to the speaking events and the different things, and he was coming. Now, when he stopped coming, he never questioned it. He never said it. So what I'm saying is, even if he was feeling that way, he never said, and that's why it wasn't abusive. He never said, why you going over there, what you doing over there, what about this, what about that. Plus, oh, he would say things like, he was like, here you go, you going to church. I was like, yep, you can go if you want to. But I didn't. And then, like, I remember one time we had a discussion. He was like, well, you never invite me to church. I was like, it's church, it's an open invitation, you can go whenever you want to, but
and
I'm
you
not
know
gonna.
I'm going this Sunday.
Exactly. And Wednesday. And and I am not that kind of person that, because I go, you have to go. And I'm not going to sit and every week be like, you going to church, you going to church. I'm not
Right.
doing it. I don't do that. I don't, this is what I do. You know what I mean? And if it's a problem for you and you can't accept it, oh, that's fine. We don't have to be together. But it wasn't like that. So he never
You
verbalized.
said
I
that
know, I said
he
that he
said
would. I said that he
no,
would.
but then you also said the first thing that you started this off was I dated somebody that was insecure. This man had on a spaghetti strap tank
Right.
top, and I said, "Look at that man," and he went off in a nice way. Took you home. You didn't even get to the yard sale, and then you ain't speak for 3 days. If that's not reading into what you say too much, I don't know what is.
Oh,
All
well,
I
it
said
wasn't it
was,
wasn't because I said
but
look
what
at
I'm
the
saying
man.
is,
It was
well, what was
because
it?
I was looking at the man, because he was like, "What are you looking at?" And I was like, "That man." And he was. It didn't matter. Like, I didn't say, look, right. Well, I was okay.
Well,
I'm
first of
not
all, if
saying
he
that he.
don't
I'm
have that
saying he
sign,
was
he had
bona
every other
fide.
sign.
He was. I'm just saying that, no doubt, he was bona fide, certified, megafied insecure. No doubt in my mind that he was. And but however, I did not realize it until the
Got out
relationship
of
was
the relationship.
already over.
Now,
Right.
what made you one day have this epiphany that he was insecure? Like after the relationship was over, you're sitting around and I mean you're fully over. It's no going back and forth, it's over. And
Mhm.
then you sit down and you be like, because that's when it happens. When
Right.
when you're in something, that's like you in something and your man is cheating on you every month. And you
Mhm.
like, I can't believe he cheating on me again, but you stay. And you don't really realize how bad he's really doing you until you get out of it and you like, I was a dumbass dummy. He did this, he did that. But
Well,
while you in it,
I
you
don't
just don't
feel
even
like,
pay attention to
right.
it.
Well, and I
I
don't
use
feel that
that
way.
as an
Yeah,
example. Well,
because
go ahead.
I certainly don't feel that way. I don't feel like I don't feel like I was abused. I don't feel like he did me wrong. I don't feel like, oh my gosh, I was a dummy for staying that long. I don't feel any of those
I just
ways.
use that as an
I
example, but that's
felt like when when it was over and I could look back. The first thing is because and this is the Sagittarian in me, we cannot be boxed in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we cannot be boxed in. And I was having a conversation with somebody, and I think I was in church, and they were talking about how people respond to different things,
Mm-hmm.
and they were talking about insecurity, and they was like, insecurity will have you they was like, you ever have a conversation with somebody and you just, you're saying it's this, and they're like, you just can't convince them otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, those are like, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I thought about it, and they was like, when they talk about they always want to be with you and stuff like that, and these are things that I never realized because the attention didn't bother me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So then I was like, oh my gosh. And he's insecure, and he still is.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
he
because
still is.
if you, first of all, it's just like with anything in life, you an addict, you need to realize that you're an addict first.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You have dyslexia. You might not know you have dyslexia, but something ain't going on right with the way that I'm learning or the way that I'm
Hmm.
processing, whatever, right? It's what you have to realize first. So if a person is insecure and they don't realize it, or they don't go get the help for it, you
Hmm.
dyslexic, you could go get help for it, and then you go on to be the president of the damn United States. It
Hmm.
happens. If Once you get the help, but you got to recognize it first. You got to recognize the problem so you can rectify the problem. And so if you're not recognizing it, you're going to continue to be insecure. That's why umpteen years later, when you see them, it's like, damn, you still insecure? Yes, because
Hmm.
I don't
Well,
even realize that I am insecure. And if I do
right,
realize that, I'm not getting the help for it.
right. Now, and that was the beginning of the end. I remember what happened. So one time I needed money,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I've always taken care of myself since I was a teenager. I've always taken care of myself. And so I remember I needed some money, and I was with him like every single day. He knew I needed the money
Mm-hmm.
by a certain time. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this, this, this. I'm trying to figure out how I can make it work. I'm gonna wiggle this. I'm gonna try this. And then the time is getting closer, and I didn't have the money.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing was working. So then the money was due. It was like either that the money was either due that day or the next day
Mm-hmm.
or the day before. I can't remember. But it was like due. The money was due, right? And he was like, I thought you needed the money or whatever. I was like, oh, I called my dad. And he was
Uh-huh.
like, you called your dad? And I was like, yeah. And he got upset that I called my dad and didn't ask him.
But he knew that you needed the money?
Hello.
And this was a person, y'all was in a relationship.
For real.
Like together,
We was together every day. We were neighbors.
taking care of your kids.
No, no,
He
no, no.
was no. What I mean is, first of all, yes, if a person is, whether you feed my kids or not, if you're mentally feeding into them, emotionally feeding into them, ain't got nothing to do with just because you ain't buying no bread. You're around my kids, and he was around your kids.
A little bit.
It don't matter if he was around your kids a little bit. He met them. He was around them enough. You ain't. If y'all was together every damn day, where was your kids?
They went to school in Amboy. They
Oh,
went they
okay.
went away
But
from school during
that
the week.
makes.
They were up at school during the week,
Oh,
and
that makes
they
sense.
would come
I
home
was
on
about to
weekends.
say, what the hell you
Yeah,
mean he wasn't around your
because
kids? How you
I have
with
is that
somebody every
not
damn
like
day and they ain't around your kids? But the point is that you knew, and I'm sure that, I mean, not to get all in your business, but I'm sure that y'all was having relations. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, damn.
no, my point, yes, it speaks to the point, because if I'm screwing you and feeding you, making you sauce, not taking your 10 damn dollars. We together every day. You coming to pick me up. You hear me talking about the fact that I gotta pay whatever.
Yeah, I
I
forgot what it
need this
was.
money. It don't matter
Mm.
what it was. It could have been $1, or it could have been
Right.
thousands of dollars. It doesn't matter. The point is that you knew that it was coming up. I
Hmm.
was obviously you were talking about it because it was on
Right.
your mind, and you was like, damn, I wonder what I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna do, what I'm gonna
Right.
do. Is this gonna get done? And you sat your black ass there and ain't say nothing, and
Right.
then had the audacity to
Right.
get angry because you asked your daddy and not because you physically asked him and you said that wasn't abusive? That's abusive.
I don't think that's abusive.
That's abusive.
And I did not have a problem with it at all. I did not have a problem asking my dad or whatever. And when he asked me what happened, I was like, oh no, I just asked my dad. And I had the problem when he was upset that I didn't ask that. No, that not that I asked my dad. That I did not ask him.
Yeah.
And I
so he's
like,
sitting there waiting. So that's like
that's
equivalent
like,
to
you said
I'm not going to
to ask you, and
right, that's
already are you fucking crazy? Oh,
that's equivalent to my lights is about to get turned off. Like I'm going to be in here in the dark with no hot water, no nothing. I'm just going to be in here, and I'm saying every day, oh my God, I hope PSNG ain't outside. They about to cut my lights off, and you know I'm gonna be in the dark, and you waiting for me to say, can you give me the $250 so I can pay PSNG instead of a person that I'm screwing and feeding. You know I'm gonna be up in here in the dark, and you ain't gonna say, "Babe, here go the money," and you got the money,
right?
Ah, that's abusive, and it would have been over.
Right. So I was upset that he got upset.
And I blame people for a lot of stuff, but you ain't gonna see me in need. Because clearly you were in need. The fact that you called your father and
exactly
and wasn't able to make it right, wasn't able to do right, because it's not like you just call you not you know you're not one of them kind of people that's like, Daddy, I'm sorry, bail me out again. Like you take care of yourself, and him as a person that was in a relationship with you, he knew that, and you was waiting for me. So he had a lot of stuff going on. Wasn't just insecurities, but this podcast is about insecurities.
But that was a insecurity trait, because that is, you have to constantly reinforce he needed to be needed. He needed to be needed, and when it was over, that's exactly what he said. And I told, like, I don't want to be needed. I don't want to be needed. I want to be wanted.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't want to be needed, but he needed to be needed. And that's what he said. He was like, you don't need me. You make me feel like anybody, he was like, you never asked me for money for a bill. You never asked me to do this. You never asked me to do that. You never asked for anything. You don't need me. And I was like, what?
You laid up.
No,
you know what needs to be done around here?
That wasn't for that particular situation. It was just
no. That's what I'm saying. He general,
felt like I didn't need him.
Right.
I didn't need him, so it didn't matter. And I understand now what he was saying. And some men are like this. He was like, well,
a lot of them are.
If you don't need me, the first guy that comes along that smiles a little better than me, or walks a little better than me, or does anything, says you don't need a guy anyway, you can replace me real fast. And
that's that insecurity. That's that insecurity
thing.
Yeah, no.
So still today, he always be like, I can't believe you're not married. I can't believe this and that. And oh my gosh, I'll never love anybody else like that again. And all this other kind of stuff. Still today.
Sounding more and more needy and abusive. Yes, calm down. And for the record, I just want to say this. When I say that certain things sound abusive, that's my stuff. You know what I'm saying? There are a lot of people dealing with insecure people, and they're not being abused. Right. It's nothing about them that feels abused or anything like that. I'm not saying you can't be in a loving relationship and a person be insecure. Because as you stated in the beginning, you don't know what a person is dealing with that they would be insecure about. So I understand that. The abusey thing is my thing, because I feel like if somebody want to spend every waking moment with me, eventually you're gonna slap me tomorrow. It's calm down. Right. We have to have space.
Right.
But that's just my thing. So those are just some of the signs that we found that you're showing insecurities in your relationship. One thing I'll say before we go is insecurity is not cute. Confidence is everything, but a person has to gain that within themselves. And what a person needs to realize that are dealing with someone that's insecure, it's not about you. Do not let a person project their insecurities onto you. If you choose to deal with someone who is insecure, that's fine. But don't let their negative thoughts and or behaviors be projected onto you. Know that that has nothing to do with you.
And I
And then,
think that's the most important
yeah.
thing, that you really have to know that their issues have nothing to do with you. And another thing, my advice to all people who are in relationships, and I say this all the time when people ask me, if you are in a relationship with someone who is insecure, don't try to fix them.
Mm-hmm.
You are trying to fight an enemy that the other person doesn't even know is there.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't work. You know what I mean? It
Right.
doesn't work. You cannot fix someone's insecurities.
And the bee knows firsthand. And with that, we're going to go ahead and get on out of here for this week. We hope that you enjoyed this week's episode. This episode is dropping late, and we do apologize, but we wanted to make sure that we got something of quality out for you this week. So we hope that you enjoyed it. Remember that an all new episode drops each and every Monday. You can find us anywhere where you can listen to your free podcast. That is on iTunes, Anchor, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and you can also find us on YouTube. Make sure that you follow the show. We are on all social media platforms. That's Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at We Did That Shit. Follow me on my personal Twitter. It's my13. That's MYMY13.
And I'm at Bibbi Amina. That's BIBBIAMINA.
Don't forget to tell someone about the show and tell them to tell somebody about the show. And we'll be here same time next week. Well, not this same time because we're late this week, but we'll be here Monday next week.
Remember, don't be insecure. Be great this week. Do that shit. I love you, Maya.
Love you too. She